stays in strength. He looks for the drop. Has he got it? Yes, it's over.
On the 24th of June 1995, South Africa saw off the mighty New Zealand 15-12 in the Rugby World Cup final at this very ground. The host nation were world champions for the first time, and the Rainbow Nation was united after a turbulent time in the history of the proud republic.
Obviously, having the then President Nelson Mandela out at Ellis Park and having the crowd cheering after the victory at Ellis Park after the final, I mean, those are instances in my life that I've soaked up and will carry with me to the last of my days.
There was a glimmer of hope that those special moments would return as South Africa were named preferred candidates after a rigorous and transparent 15-month auditing process. But it was not to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to announce that the host for the Rugby World Cup 2023 is France.
There was outrage after the shock announcement, with many flocking to social media to express their anger. But in the end, the South African Rugby Union CEO, Yuri Roux, was gracious in defeat.
We tried our best, we put our best foot forward, and people had a vote, and they had an option, and they actually just executed that. In the end, I cannot fault World Rugby for the process that we followed up until now. If you ask anybody that worked with us in the bid committee, the process was pretty transparent. In actual fact, was very transparent. It was a good process to be part of. We learned a lot.
The big question for many was how the World Rugby Council had voted and what had influenced their votes when South Africa were clear favourites going into the final vote in London.
I'd spoken to some of the delegates. We had South Africa being probably 3 votes short of an outright win. And since that time, in the first round, they lost 4 votes. 2 of those came from the African Rugby Federation, who are based at SA Rugby's offices in Cape Town, but voted with France. So as ridiculous as that sounds, obviously something made them change their mind.
The declining socio-economic climate and the rising crime levels in South Africa will be a factor should the country decide to bid to host the 2027 event. But it is highly unlikely the government will be able to sign assurances, leaving SARU without the financial muscle to bid even if they wanted to.
I think we're entering a period now in the next 4-8 years where it's going to be critical for South Africa to make some real heart-searching issues and decisions in terms of the value system, the principles, and what is going to drive the country forward.
There is still a lot of resentment towards World Rugby for their decision, and the only likely future bidders with the financial backing will be from North or South America. It might just be time for SARU to shift focus to improving their development and transformation models, which in theory will produce players that are good enough to challenge the rest of the world and bring back the coveted Webb Ellis Trophy. CS du Plessis, CGTN, Johannesburg.